Hello, I'm Dr. Paul Hundrup, Director of Choral Activities at Western Kentucky University. We've again been asked this year to prepare a short guide to this year's KMEA All-State audition piece, April is in My Mistress Face by Thomas Morley. Today we'll talk briefly about the composer and the poetry of the piece. We'll make some suggestions about the learning process, and finally we'll talk about some of the challenges, the unique challenges that the English text presents. Whether you're a teacher or a student watching this video, we hope it's helpful to you. Thomas Morley was an English composer and one of the more important students of William Byrd. He was also one of the most important of the English madrigalists, or writers of these madrigals that came about from the European continent and made their way to England. But he was not just a composer, he was also an important editor, publisher, organist, and theorist. He lived from the mid-1550s and died in 1602. This piece particularly was published in 1594 and is of course put under the general term madrigal. The poetry of these English madrigals was often centered around the themes of love and nature, and this is no exception. The poet is reflecting upon his mistress and her thoughts and likens his time with her to the changing of the seasons, which go from the hope of spring to the darkness of winter. It's a sad ending.
Hi, I'm Lauren Whittem, the Associate Director of Choral Activities at Western Kentucky University. As you begin your preparation and analysis of this year's all-state audition piece, April is in My Mistress Face, I would like to encourage you to begin by looking at the form. I think it makes sense to divide rehearsal sections by lines of text or season, April, July, September, and December. Rehearsal section 1, April, will be measures 1 through 9. Section 2, July, measures 10 through 15. Rehearsal section 3, September, will be measures 16 through 22. And rehearsal section 4, December, measures 23 through 38. Next, we need to locate and define phrases within each structural section. These phrases will dictate when to breathe. Rests and punctuation are both good indicators of the ends of phrases. Take a look at section 1, for example. The altos have 3 phrases in section 1 and breathe on the rest after each time they say the word face. This section of the piece is very straightforward for the altos. Likewise, the basses have just 2 phrases in this section, marked by rests after the word face, again straightforward like the altos. The sopranos, on the other hand, have a very long phrase from measure 3 to measure 9. Sopranos may wish to add a quarter rest and breathe on beat 2 of measure 7 at the comma after the word face. The tenors also have one very long phrase from measures 3 to measure 9 like the sopranos. Tenors may wish to add a quarter rest and breathe on beat 2 of measure 6 at the comma after the word face. Take some time to define phrases in the remaining 3 sections of the piece and mark your decisions clearly with breath marks. Because this piece is polyphonic, it requires a great deal of rhythmic independence. Practice speaking through the text of your line as artistically as possible, paying attention to your breath marks until it becomes second nature. When you're first learning this piece, it's okay to tap quarter notes to feel all 4 beats in this measure. For example, April is in my mistress' face. However, as you become more comfortable, this piece should move lightly and quickly and should be felt in 2. 1, 2. April is in my mistress' face. There are no tempo changes or fermatas to trip you up in this piece. However, a very slight ritardando would be appropriate in the penultimate measure. Once you've completed this initial structural analysis, listen to a quality recording and follow along in your score to get an overall idea of the piece. I always suggest starting with solfege when learning a new melody. Once the section is solid on solfege, other rehearsal techniques may include singing on a neutral syllable like do or do. This intermediate step may help bridge the gap for you between solfege and adding text. Another great rehearsal technique is to sing all the pitches on a staccato syllable, bum, like a marimba. This requires rhythmic accuracy and doesn't allow singers to listen or lean on colleagues or slide into the pitch. It will reveal a lot for you about intonation, confidence, and rhythmic integrity, and will help you solidify your performance even further. Additionally, some general things to look out for will be dissonances between the voice parts, moments where the voices are in octaves with one another, ends of phrases when the unstressed syllable falls on strong beat 1 or 3 or is approached by leap. This happens most frequently in sections 3 and 4 of the piece. Finally, intonation at cadences. Generally, I ask my students to sing with a steady tone just at cadences to lock in the tuning. Once the rhythms, pitches, and text are underway, I encourage my students to study the dramatic climate or mood of the piece. Develop a clear, concise, consistent, and animated communication of the mood of this piece. Write in descriptive words that help remind you of the affect of the piece whenever it changes. These adjectives may include bold, hushed, intense, transparent, smooth, weighty, celebratory, bitter, weary, or buoyant. Use gesture to conduct your own line freely from pattern to show the shape of each phrase and the text stress. It's important to spend time considering all of these musical elements and to mark your score in a systematic, legible, and consistent way. It takes time, but it builds a clear oral concept of the piece that is technically solid and grounded in thoughtful decision-making. I wish you all the best as you prepare this year's All-State audition piece. April is in My Mistress Face, and I look forward to seeing you in Louisville in February.
Hello, my name is Dr. Jeremy Kelly, and I'm an assistant professor of voice at Western Kentucky University. We should always start diction work by reciting the text first for meaning and cadence of the language. April is in my mistress' face, and July in her eyes hath placed. Within her bosom is September, but in her heart a cold December. After speaking, it's helpful to consider the most important words in each line, usually verbs and subjects, and underline them in the music to remind the brain that we are telling a story. One of the challenges to singing English is managing the consonants. We sing on vowels, not consonants, and English can be problematic for breaking up the vocal line. One of the most important techniques to master is singing legato. If the singer can stay smooth and connected, the voice stays engaged and spinning. A very helpful exercise is to sing the text on vowels only. This makes the singer commit to specific vowels, which will clean up inconsistencies as well as promote good phrase technique. I'll demonstrate singing selections of the bass line on vowels only. Hey, we now sprinkle the consonants back in, flavoring the vowels and never overpowering them. In most cases, beginning consonants should be sufficiently powerful and clear, occurring just before the beat. And in words that feature a diphthong, the second vowel should come at the very end of the first. I'll now sing the excerpts with the consonants, highlighting potential issues of each line. April is in my mistress' face. Mistress is full of unvoiced consonants that must be coordinated. And face has a diphthong, but at the very end, just hinted. Face. And July in her eyes hath placed. Her can be problematic due to the R, which is never voiced, only hinted at. Immediately following is eyes, and with no preceding R, you switch immediately into the vowel or lift into it. Her eyes, or her eyes hath placed. Within her bosom is September. There's another her here, so watch the unvoiced R. And bosom is simply an oo vowel that's slightly opened. Bosom. And watch the ending M's at the end of the month words. September and December. But in her heart a cold December. Heart has no R, just the ghost of an R moving to the T. Heart. Cold is a great descriptor that you really want to bring out right before the beat. Cold December. Also watching that closing M. This is a wonderful piece, and I hope your students enjoy singing it. Good luck, and I hope this was helpful.
We hope that this has been helpful to you. If you've got any questions about the material presented today, reach out to us at sing@wku.edu or reach out to any of the individuals that presented today. Thanks so much.